A warm welcome to the show. Kinoteka Polish Film Festival is back in London, bringing together key voices from Polish cinema, past and present. At the heart of this year's edition is a major retrospective marking the 100th anniversary of Andrzej Wajda's birth. The festival also presents new Polish films, documentaries, live performances and conversations about cinema's future, from European memory to artificial intelligence. To discuss all this, I am joined by Marlena Łukasiak, Artistic Director of the festival. Hello and welcome, delighted to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me.
So I wanted to start with something rather unusual, a rave review in The Guardian of a Polish movie made decades ago. And let me just read you an excerpt here. Everywhere in this film is sadness and a kind of delirium. The film was made just 13 years after the events it described, the original novel by Jastrzębski, on which it is based, just 3 years. It is a testament to Poland's crisis of identity and ideology. And of course, it is about Ashes and Diamonds, 1958 movie by Andrzej Wajda. Why did you choose this particular movie to start the festival with?
Well, so actually that was a big dilemma for us. We've been thinking about the opening night for quite a long time. As Polish Cultural Institute, but also our partners, because the festival is organized not only by the Polish organizations such as PCI or the Polish Film Institute, but we are doing it in collaboration with British Film Institute. So the big question was, which of so many wonderful Andrzej Wajda's films will actually speak to the British audience and will represent the work of Andrzej Wajda the best? For a moment we were thinking about The Ladies of Wilko, but then we thought, no, it has to be the one which Andrzej Wajda probably appreciated the most amongst all his films. So Ashes and Diamonds. And when we saw the wonderful review in The Guardian by Peter Bradshaw, we were just so overwhelmed, because that's probably the best gift anyone can give to any film festival in the UK, because Peter Bradshaw is absolutely the most important film critic in Great Britain. And as soon as the review was published, we've seen so many of screenings selling out immediately. So I believe that was probably the best choice. Of course, we worried a little bit that maybe the British audience have already seen the film, and the film is quite widely known. But there were almost 500 people attending the screening, and everyone was as amazed as when they saw the film for the first time many years ago.
But why do you think it resonated so well? Does it have anything to do with the times, current times, I mean?
I think it is just an absolutely brilliant story which is told, which tells the history of Poland. Obviously, the people who came to watch the film are familiar with Polish culture. The majority of them were actually Brits, but Brits who are familiar with Polish history. And it is just such a skillful filmmaking. There is not a single shot in this film which is unnecessary. There is not a single line said without actually conveying any meaning. So I think the audiences are slightly tired and fed up with watching very big, spectacular films which are very rich in form but very poor in meaning. And then suddenly they were presented with a very modest cinema, modest because that time the Polish film industry actually did not exist. The films were just made with whatever was available, but films with such modest means, which conveyed really strong messages, and they were played by wonderful actors, and films which actually still look very good and relevant in contemporary times.
And the festival also features tributes to other significant filmmakers, including Krzysztof Kieślowski or Marcel Woziński. And I was wondering, what is the overarching theme here? Can we be talking about a shared European language of memory when we're looking at these films?
Yes, I think that that the aim of the festival is to emphasize each year that Poland is a country with a very rich cultural history. And Polish, not only filmmakers, Polish creators of culture contributed a lot to European culture, and we are still a very important, very loud voice in European culture. And especially now when Britain is sailing slightly away from Europe, we think that it is important to remind the local audiences in the UK that we share the same values, we speak the same artistic language, and culture is actually the best means to communicate.
And I wanted to ask you about the audiences. Are these people mostly British or Polish? Who is attending the festival?
Yes, so our audience is quite mixed. People who are coming to watch contemporary films are predominantly Poles, but Poles who immigrated to the UK maybe 20 years ago. They are sometimes sons and daughters of Poles. But when it comes to retrospective screenings, such as Andrzej Wajda's films or Krzysztof Kieślowski's films, these are predominantly British people, well, British, I would say Londoners, people who are just interested in European culture or foreign culture.
So let's talk about the new Polish cinema, which is another strand of the festival. So which films did you decide to include, and why these particular films?
Yes, so that's a bit always difficult to choose the right films because, as I said, a lot of people who come to watch our films are of Polish origins, but still not all of them. So we try to select films which will actually appeal to the non-Poles as well. And obviously this year we had a fantastic list of films to choose from. I think one of the films which I'm sure will be incredibly successful is, for example, Agnieszka Holland's latest film, France. Agnieszka Holland has an absolutely amazing following in Great Britain. Every time she comes to London, there are people queuing for hours to buy tickets and then to get her autograph or just to take a picture with her. She's absolutely a cult director. So we are organizing a screening of France in one of the biggest cinemas in London, in IMAX Cinema. And there are almost 500 tickets available, and I believe the screening is almost sold out. There might be just a few side seats left, and the screening is in 1 month time. We are also screening Chopin by Michał Kwieciński, and that's been also very popular. We've organized some activities around this film with a Chopin Society in Great Britain. And we've got a lot of members of the society buying tickets and coming to the screening. We are also screening a wonderful documentary, Letters from the Wall Street, which I think will also communicate really well with the British, especially Londoners, because so many of us living in London are actually immigrants, and it's quite interesting to observe the experience of an immigrant, even if this immigrant immigrated here to Poland.
And of all these movies, which one is your favorite one? Do you have a personal favorite?
Yes, of course. I have to say I'm really looking forward to rewatching Marcel Łoziński's documentaries. This is a filmmaker who is very close to my heart. He came to Kinoteka many years ago, and we spent wonderful time with Marcel, and also he had a fantastic relationship with the audience. And we asked one of the most prominent British filmmaker, Mark Isaac, if he would like to do an introduction, and he said, obviously, I'm gonna rearrange my schedule. Marcel is one of the key person in my professional life, and I would like personally to talk about his contribution to my filmmaking skills.
Oh, that is wonderful. So we have feature films, we have documentaries, but also a performance, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, so we are organizing. We wanted to do an event around Andrzej Wajda, which is not just a pure cinematic event. So we are organizing a dance music event at the South Bank Center, which is very kind of inspired. I wouldn't say it is an adaptation. It's more inspired by a script by Andrzej Wajda and Jerzy Gruza called Blokowisko, the estate, and which tells the story of a couple in the estate living in a block of flats, which is also a milieu quite familiar to Londoners. There are many council estates in London, so we are adapting it to British realities and presenting it as a dance music performance.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of overlap, I mean, when it comes to themes, shared themes for both Poles and the Brits. But what other messages is the festival trying to convey? Is there anything that is particularly important?
Yes, I think that we want to encourage people to actually try to understand Polish culture, to get familiar with Polish culture. There are obviously many stereotypes, not only about us Poles, about so many other cultures, which I think sometimes prevent people from actually seeing for themselves so what this country has got to offer. That's why the key to our festival is our collaboration with very prestigious British partners. And I have to say that after 24 years, we've actually got on board all most important venues, institutions in London. The festival is organized in collaboration with British Film Institute. We've got venues such as Barbican or Institute of Contemporary Arts hosting our events, actually talking on their social media about Polish culture. But important thing as well is that we want to show how modern Poland is, because obviously we've got a fantastic tradition of Polish film school, Polish animation school, Polish film poster, etc. But that's not all. We are also one of the leading countries when it comes to technologies, games.
And there's a conference as a part of the festival. There is a conference on artificial intelligence. So why is this so important? Because it is changing the film industry as we know it, right?
Absolutely. I think that it's quite difficult now to organize a big cultural event without actually mentioning artificial intelligence. So this year we are partnering with Samsung, and they've offered us their fantastic space in a very trendy part of London, King's Cross. And for a whole day we will be talking about Polish contribution to AI research. We are inviting a brilliant designer who works in LA. He designs posters but also works as a creative director for Adobe. He will be talking about how the design has been implementing all the new technology and AI, and how can you actually use an AI in a very creative way without actually destroying what's been done in a traditional way. We will be also talking about the ethics and AI, and it's also quite worth, I think, mentioning another projects that we will be organizing around AI. It's a wonderful collaboration with 11 Labs, one of the most successful high-tech companies, Polish high-tech companies. We will be recreating Krzysztof Kieślowski's voice, and we will be creating a project when people will be able to talk on the phone with Krzysztof Kieślowski using the archive materials. So we want to show young people that actually Polish classics, in general classics, archive materials can be still very cool.
Sounds amazing, absolutely worth the wait. Marlena Łukasiak, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for watching Pulse of Culture. Please stay tuned for more here on TV World.